welcome to the one and the only Full Sport Press. I am Zach.
And I'm Peyton.
Peyton, how are you? You are in a different place than we're all used to.
Yes, I am on vacation. So I had a new little backdrop, new area, and but we're fighting through, still having our episode because we're
Beautiful.
dedicated like that.
Obviously, it's what the people want. They deserve
Yep.
this show. So
There would be riots if we didn't do it. So
yeah. So alrighty. Well, you want to go ahead and get us started with what you saw?
yes, what we saw is heading over to the World Lacrosse Championship. If you don't know, there's a player by the name of Brennan O'Neill. He is still in college. He is about to go into his senior season at Duke, and he's the only college player on the whole United States roster. Everybody else is from the PLL, so they're professionals. Now, he had some pretty good games. He scored a hat trick in the first game against Canada, but other than that, he's had some okay games. Coming into the championship game, the gold medal match against Canada, he lit it up. So they played, they won 10-7 against Canada. Brennan O'Neill had 5 goals by himself. And keep in mind, he is 21 in college still compared to these professional athletes who are playing defense on him and he's playing with, and he was the leading scorer. He dominated the entire game. He receives the MVP of the whole tournament. So if there was ever a season that the PLL was going to have a tankathon kind of thing like the NBA, it would be this season considering what Brennan O'Neill just did. And he still has one more year in college. But yeah, it was just a insane performance coming from a guy who's younger, hasn't played professional, and he wins the MVP of the whole thing. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy. Dang. Alrighty. Well, what I saw is a little bit different. So yesterday I got to go to the Fever game, and sadly they lost again. Don't want to talk about that. But somebody amazing, i.e. the GOAT, was in Indy. Dawn Staley herself. So Kelce Mitchell won the Dawn Staley Community Leadership Award. She was chosen for her positive impact and dedication to the Indianapolis and Cincinnati communities. I'm assuming that means that she did stuff, helped the homeless, gave out food, clothes, that sort of thing. But it is named after Dawn Staley, and she was there at the game, and I got a picture with her. It was amazing. It is on Twitter. Yeah, if you've seen it, I know that at least Cam has. But
I did see it.
Man, well, you didn't like it, so thanks for that.
I don't like anything on Twitter.
Boo,
So.
that's a lie. So, but yeah, It was great. It was wonderful. I got to be right beside the GOAT. Alrighty, game of the week.
My game of the week, not gonna lie, was pretty disappointing.
Same.
It was honestly, it feels like it was so long ago. But it was on Monday, College World Series Game 3, LSU versus Florida. It was very hyped up coming into it. Will we see Paul Skeens get the pitch? He did not pitch because it wasn't necessary. LSU destroyed them 18-4. It really wasn't close. They just dominated. It was sad to see because both those teams had been good all year. And leading up to that, kind of gone back and forth. But LSU ends up destroying them, winning the championship. Did you see who was in attendance, Zach? You're one of your favorite people.
Oh my God! Is it who
the queen of college basketball herself?
Oh, Angel.
Kim.
Yes.
No,
Kim. Okay, Kim.
Kim Mulkey.
Yes,
your favorite coach.
Yes, see that.
But yeah,
I thought
so
Angel. Angel tweeted about it. I thought that it was her for some reason. Yeah. Every time she was on the screen, because I actually did watch some of this, I was like, just get it off. I don't want to see this right now. But props to LSU. That's 2 this year, or 2 major titles. So
yeah,
that's
2
pretty good.
major ones, baseball and women's basketball. So good year for LSU.
Oh, yeah. All right. Moving on. What's our first topic?
You got to do your game of the week, sir.
Yikes.
Come on, man.
I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised I wanted to skip over it because it, as well, was a disappointment. The Sun, who have been the second best team in the WNBA, now are not because they got destroyed by the Aces 102-84. It was just terrible. The Aces are just unstoppable. And that is what I think that game really showed. The Sun have been just a complete force on defense. Nobody's been able to really do anything against them. And for the Aces to come in with this team and just completely rock their world, um, I think it's very telling for what the end of the season is probably going to be. But getting into the game a little bit, Asia Wilson went 23, 13, and 5 on 53% shooting. Kelsey Plum, Candace Parker, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young all combined for 62 points. So the entire starting five just went off this game. Alyssa Thomas still almost had a triple double. She finished with 12, 5, and 11. And then DeWanna Bonner had a really good shooting night with 19 points. And then off the bench, I did want to shout her out real quick. Dejanay Carrington, she continues to be like a really good presence off the bench, kind of like a sixth woman coming off the bench for the Sun. The Sun lost a really good player in Brianna Jones, their center, to I think an Achilles about 2 weeks ago. But in her last 4 games, Dejanay Carrington has had 17 points, 23, and then 12 points. So she's been huge for the Sun so far in this season, and hopefully she'll be able to keep it rolling. Now, what is our first topic?
All right, we have the PLL. Not too much to say, but it is returning this week because they had the kind of like international break because a lot of players are playing in the World Championships. So the question is, will these teams pick up where they left off? Because some of them were either on their teams or I don't even know if they were even having practices or how it worked, but will they be able to pick up where they left off? And the teams that we were seeing dominate, Archers, and can the Chrome recover? Like, that's the question, is how are they going to respond coming out of this? Saturday, Sunday this week. Saturday, they're going to be at nighttime. Sunday, I believe they're daytime. And some pretty good matchups. So kind of tuning in to see how those players respond from that. On Saturday, it'll be 6 and 8:30, both on ESPN Plus. You got the Water Dogs versus the Chrome, Cannons versus Atlas. And then on Sunday at 2 o'clock on ESPN2, Redwoods versus Chaos. That should be probably the matchup of the week there. And then at 4:30, Whip Snakes versus Archers on ESPN Plus. So Redwoods Chaos would be the game to watch for this weekend in the PLL. All right, moving on, we have a little golf to discuss.
Yes, we do. Again, not too much, kind of like a PLL, but I completely forgot that the match was happening, and then I think the day of, I got a notification, and I don't think really anything else was on, so I was like, sure. And what I learned while watching the match is Klay Thompson, he's pretty good, like for not playing golf really that much. But yeah, let's just stick to basketball. Steph did not have the best day, and Steph is really good. Patrick Mahomes had a really good day, but the person who I want to shout out, Travis Kelce, he is just stupidly good at golf for no reason at all. I know he said that in the offseason he's been training for this and getting ready, but I don't think before this he's really ever done much with golf. At least that's how he kind of sounded. So, yeah, he played a really good game. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce did end up winning. They got up by like 4 or 5 pretty early and just kind of coasted the rest of the way. But it was pretty entertaining. I always love the match, especially if it's something just to throw on. So, yeah. Moving on to baseball.
The only thing I saw from the match was just
Yeah.
like Draymond Green acting a fool. That was the only thing I saw on highlights on Twitter. But
Dude,
yeah.
he was on a podcast P, and it's like a 2-hour episode. So
Oh boy,
I'm interested in that.
more on Draymond later. All right, MLB. So all-star rosters were released. The Braves, I believe it was the highest in franchise history amount of players. They had 8 players make it, the entire infield. Wow. Ronald Acuna in the outfield and 2 pitchers. Let me just say that the Braves lately are unstoppable. One of probably the best offensive baseball teams I've ever seen. Like the entire lineup is just so good. I believe they've won their past 8 games, so they're on an 8-game winning streak. Before that, they were on, I believe, also another 8-game winning streak. So yeah, they're on a roll, just kind of almost catching up to the Rays. In fact, they do have a better winning percentage than the Rays at the moment. So they have the best winning percentage in the MLB right now. 8 players make the All Star game. But yeah, so on the other side, I believe the most from the AL was the Rangers. They had, I believe, 6 or 7. So yeah, that'll be fun to watch when it comes in a few weeks. But yeah, so Braves, really, really, really good. Number 1 in the MLB power
Yeah.
rankings.
Nice, nice, nice.
All right. Next up, we got a little soccer. The Gold
Sake.
Cup has been happening. The group stage, I believe, ends tonight. Um, and the quarterfinals will be on Saturday and Sunday. The U.S. played St. Kitts and Nevis this week, and they played Trinidad and Tobago. They won against St. Kitts and Nevis. I want to say 6-0. Same thing against Trinidad and Tobago. They
Wow.
destroyed both of them. Now, I going into this, Jesus Ferrara is one of the starters for the team at striker. He's pretty good. He plays in the MLS. Remember, I was saying, I think I said last week, this is kind of like a C team version of the U.S. team, so not their
Yeah.
best players, but he's been starting at striker. Now, when he played in the World Cup, he played against Netherlands the first half in the knockout round, didn't do anything. And he's kind of had this reputation of he doesn't really show up against good teams for the U.S. national team. So Wednesday night against St. Kitts and Nevis, he scores a hat trick. Last night against Trinidad and Tobago, he scores a hat trick. Back-to-back hat tricks in the same week. And he has been given a new nickname by U.S. Soccer Twitter, and it was even used on the broadcast because it had been said on Wednesday night after St. Kitts and Nevis. It was said by the announcer calling him the Pirate of the Caribbean because he only scores his goals against Caribbean nations. So his new nickname is the Pirate of the Caribbean. Now, it's not necessarily a knock, but it is saying he usually scores his goals against the lesser teams, but it is a funny nickname. So
That's
yeah, if you
pretty
ever hear
funny.
the term Pirate of the Caribbean to describe Jesus Ferrara, it is because he scores all his goals against the Caribbean nations.
Yeah. Great movies as well.
They are. They are.
They are. I haven't watched them in a while. I need to get on that. Oh, goodness. All righty. Getting into the WNBA. One Diamond Miller last week returned from her injury. I believe she was out with a foot. She had been gone for, let's see, they've played 15 games. So she'd been gone for about 7 games. And she finally came back and she did not miss a beat at all. They had 2 games against Seattle, one against Phoenix. Her first game against Seattle, she scored 18 points, and coming off a foot injury, was supposed to have a minutes restriction, and it ended up playing 30 minutes out of 40. So, whoops. But I mean, how do you just take the hot hand away? And then against Seattle in Seattle this time, she had 19 points, so just getting another career high in points. And then last night in Phoenix, she had 25 points. So absolutely going off. No rust from this first year, from this rookie who just came off the injury. It's really cool to see. She was the number 2 overall pick. So it was great to see her out there. And now you can tell that the Lynx are starting to take a jump because they've been pretty bad and missing Diamond Miller. But now Nafisa Collier is really starting to shoot well and score a lot. And then you add Diamond Miller on top of that, they could be dangerous. So, yeah, really fun to see. And also, I wanted to point out in that first Seattle game, Joel Lloyd had a 41 bomb, another one, her second one in about 2 weeks. So, wow, from the all-star starter. And then pointing out another young player, Ryan Howard. She got her career high last night, 43 points on 70% field goal shooting, 50% three-point shooting to beat the Sparks 112-84. We're about to get into All-Stars. The reserves were announced, and I did want to point out Ryan Howard because sadly she got snubbed. I think that she should have been on there. When you look at the roster, it's tough to take some people off, but yeah, Ryan Howard definitely should have had her name in that mix. But talking about some of the reserves that were announced, I'm not going to go over all of them, but Alicia Gray, former Gamecock, finally made an All-Star game. She was really good last year, and this year really stepped up her game for the Dream, and she finally made it. For the Sun, Alyssa Thomas, triple-double machine, and DeWanna Bonner, who can score anytime she wants, both made it. good to see there. There were some other names. Elena Deladon, that's a huge one. She did get hurt recently, so hopefully that's not too bad and she's able to come back and play. But yeah, there's a lot more. But if you want to see the whole roster, go look it up on the WNBA.com. All-Star Weekend starts July 15th. They'll have some like skills challenges, 3-point challenges, and then I believe the game is on the 17th or 18th. I got to look it up, but I'll know for sure next week on our episode. And then, yeah, other than that, the playoffs are creeping up. So, yeah, WNBA is getting fun.
All right, next up, we have the NBA. Couple of free agency trades to mention. The Rockets. I've dubbed them the King of Mid after their signings of Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks. Thoughts on that, Zach?
I mean, I don't think VanVleet's that bad. He's pretty good. He can shoot. And his defense is pretty decent.
I think he's overrated, personally. Because,
So.
he really hasn't done much since, they've been kind of carried by Siakam since Kawhi left. I mean,
he's been good the last 2 years.
Mid.
No.
But not good enough to get that contract, in my opinion.
How much did he get?
I think it was a max. Keep talking about Brooks, and I'll tell you.
Okay. Brooks, yeah, he brings you really nothing offensively except for maybe a rim runner. Maybe. Defensively, wonderful, but, he was going to get signed somewhere. So,
yeah.
It was bound to happen.
Fred VanVleet got 3 years, $130 million.
Yeah, I think that's too much. But
let's see. Last year he averaged 19 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and his shooting percentage was 39.
That's 40. So, that's right there. Not bad. What was his 3?
His 3 percentage was 34.
That's not bad either.
I just don't think it's what the Rockets like. I don't, as far as putting the Rockets over the edge in any way. I don't think he does it.
But it's interesting to see what they're going to do because they're still in talks to get James Harden. So, what's going to happen with that? I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Next piece of news that are important to me and Zach's favorite basketball teams, the Hornets and the Pacers, both locked down their guards. LaMelo and Tyrese Halliburton get their max contracts. I think both of them both deserved, in my opinion.
Yes, today. Yes, they do.
But LaMelo, I'm not gonna lie, I thought LaMelo would be gone. I didn't expect him to stay a Hornet.
Same, yeah. I figured he would want to go.
So yeah, I'm happy they got him locked down. And we'll see what else they have planned. I know Miles Bridges has gotten his
qualifying offer.
I don't know where that'll lead. And we'll just see what happens.
I know that with Halliburton, that's amazing for the Pacers. So he's going to really be a key piece in our future. But also today, Anthony Edwards got the same 5-year, $260 million contract. So all 3 big rookies from the 2020 draft have gotten max contracts. So I think 5 total have gotten contracts, some pretty big ones, but 3 at least have gotten the max. So yeah.
All right, and then we have Damian Lillard seems to be actually leaving Portland. I know it's
he
been
requested
said,
a trade.
Yeah, he said he wants to go to Miami. But unlike, I can't remember who it was, unlike someone else that had like a trade clause and basically picked where he wanted to go, he does not have that.
Bradley Bill.
That's who it was, yeah, Bradley Bill. Mm-hmm. So he does not have that.
No.
So technically the Trailblazers can accept any offer they want for him, and he'll have to go there. The question is he going to be willing, is he so set on the Heat that he's going to sit out if he goes somewhere else? Is it going to be too risky for anyone else to make an offer? Because I know the Heat don't really have what the Trailblazers are looking for as far as I've read, because they want superstars in return.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they're going to want to give up Jimmy Butler or Bam or any of them. So I know they're wanting to trade Tyler Hero, but that's not going to be near enough.
No,
for
you got to do a lot more than Tyler Hero.
So this is far from over, I think. We got a long way to go with that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where it leads up. I think he's going to be gone. I just don't know when
Where?
or where. But I think that the Trailblazers will try to get him where he wants to go because he's been there for so long. He's been loyal for what, 3 extensions now or 2
Yeah.
extensions? And he said the entire time, get me help. I'm willing to stay, but get me help. And he wanted them to either trade this 3rd pick or draft somebody who can help him. They didn't do either because they drafted Scoot Henderson, who was a guard, seemingly. I don't think saying he's your replacement because I think they want him to play beside him, but, it's just not a good look and not what you want. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
All right, the next 2 pieces of news were shocking to me. I just wasn't expecting either of these players to return to their teams. So first up, we have Kyrie back to the Mavericks. I felt like it was a failed experiment. Like it just didn't work.
I mean, they didn't. I don't think it had enough time. It was like 2 months. I think it's okay to try to run it back. I didn't think it was going to happen either, though. I figured he was going to go join a team.
Well, if I remember correctly, they were in a playoff spot before he got there, and then when he got there, they dropped out of the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think that Christian Wood is a failed experiment. He came in and was supposed to be a big to help Luka, but he just has been awful. I don't even think he finished the year starting. And then I think they also decided they just wanted to tank. Because, I mean, you saw how the last game went, and they ended up getting fined for leaving Luka on the bench for everything but a quarter. But, yeah, it was pretty shocking.
So, yeah, we'll see how that works next year. And then the next one, considering I believe we talked about this on the last episode, and I said there was basically 0% chance he would return to the Warriors, but Draymond is back to the Warriors on a 4-year, $100 million contract. Zach, thoughts on that?
I don't think I'm as shocked as you are that he's back.
I think it's the money.
I'm shocked that it's so much. 4 years. He is 31, 32. How old is he?
That, yeah.
He's
old.
He's pretty old. So 4 years is a lot. And $100 million? At this point, I really think it's just Steph saying, I want to run it back with these players or I'm leaving. And I think that the new GM knows that he can't lose Steph because then you lose everything. So I really think behind the scenes that's probably what's happening. But who knows? It could be anything.
He is 33 years old.
Oh my God.
So let's just think about this starting 5 next year. We have Steph, old. Klay Thompson, old. I assume Chris Paul will start, old. Draymond Green, old. Like they're all in their 30s, mid 30s at this point. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
So to put it in perspective, Draymond Green's best friend LeBron James is 38 years old now. So Draymond Green is playing this bad now at 33, and he's going to be even worse at 38 by the time he gets, or 37 by the time he gets there in 4 years.
Wow.
So yeah.
So, yeah, that's an interesting move. That whole off season for the Warriors, I'm guessing, like we said, it's kind of one last ride. Hopefully they can get into the finals with Chris Paul coming. But, yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes down. All right, moving on to our games of the week. Mine is a little special edition since it is July 4th tomorrow. The hot dog eating contest at 12 p.m. is my game of the week. It'll be on ESPN2. The heavy favorite, of course, is Joey Chestnut. Will he keep his run going? I don't know how many years in a row it's been, but the man is unstoppable. He never loses. He always wins by like 20 hot dogs as well.
Yeah.
So that is my must-watch of the week, definitely. My honorable mention will go to the 2 best teams in baseball starting their series Friday night on Apple TV at 6:40. The Braves versus the Rays. It'll be a great series to watch. Could be a preview of the World Series with how these 2 teams have been rolling so far. And yeah, that'll be a great game and series, the whole thing. But another honorable mention, just because I kind of talked about it earlier, the Gold Cup quarterfinals, Saturday and Sunday. I don't know when the U.S. will play because the other teams haven't finished their games. So whatever game or whatever day the U.S. are playing on Saturday, Sunday, that'll be another one.
Nice. Yeah, Joey Chestnut is a legend. It's crazy what he does.
Yes, he is.
So I have something a little bit different for my game of the week, but I'm also going to tie it into a game because it's probably going to happen before that. So mine is the WNBA All-Star Game Draft. So Asia Wilson is one captain, Breanna Stewart is the other. And just like they do in the NBA, they're each going to draft their team. They're going to start with all the starters and then, of course, go to the reserves. But that will be at 1 o'clock Saturday on July 8th. And I do not know this for sure, but it just makes the most sense because I haven't seen an official network, but it makes the most sense that the game coming on right after this is the Storm Liberty at 2 o'clock on ESPN. So I'm assuming that in the pregame for this is when the draft will happen. So look out for it on ESPN. Could possibly be on TNT. I don't think so, but maybe just have an eye there because that's where they do the NBA stuff. But yeah, keep an eye on ESPN. 1 o'clock for the draft, and then 2 o'clock you got Storm Liberty, Breanna Stewart versus her old team. Of course, everybody wants to see that. Gabby Williams will be back. She has been balling in France. She was huge in college. She played a little bit in the WNBA, but she should be back by then for the Storm. So that will be good to see. That is all. Another quickie today,
Yes,
30-minute.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Well, bye-bye.